Hey everyone, so really excited to be opening up a bunch of Hot Wheels and one Matchbox casting today. So these are mostly 2026 mainlines, and I also do have some older castings. This Jeep Scrambler, and then the Copo Corvette as well. But most of these are new, and I'll go through them and show you what I think about them as well. So without further ado, let's start off. So I think there are quite a lot of this sort of IP related castings today. So we will start off with those first. So we have these three castings. We have the Party Wagon from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then we have the armored Batmobile as well, and the Mickey Mouse car. So I recently also managed to find this Snoopy casting as well, which is again an IP casting that they released over the years, but every time they still get snatched up. So I was quite happy to find this Snoopy casting. It looks a bit it's funny looking. The Snoopy is plastic, and then the doghouse is made of metal. So a pretty cool casting, very small, but this casting still remains popular even though Hot Wheels obviously releases it very often. But the Party Wagon, I think, is also a similar casting in that vein, because they also release it very often. So obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Screen Time series, and yeah, let's just open this up. So the Party Wagon, and let's take a look at the level of how nice this casting looks. So first impressions, this looks pretty decent. Obviously a lot of the top looks like a turtle shell, and then I don't think there's an interior here, but the front temples are quite nicely done. No side temples as well, and then the back also is pretty bare. So overall, not a lot of detail, but it's an interesting casting nonetheless. The bottom is the metal piece, right? So the top is plastic, the base is the metal piece. This is a 2019 casting, and copyrighted in 2020 as well. So this is a decent casting to add to the collection of those IPs that Hot Wheels collaborates with. So that's the first one, and then we move on to the Mickey Mouse car. This one is actually new for 2026, so it's a new IP, and overall it looks pretty nice. It would be great if Mickey Mouse also appears on it, but that would probably not make the main line. So here we have the casting. So again, they decided to go with the metal base. So the base over here is metal. There's no copyright date for this one, which is interesting, but the top of the car actually feels like metal as well, if I'm not wrong. So this is a metal on metal casting. Let me just check. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this casting, because there's quite a bit of metal. The red part is metal, and then obviously the base and the front grills as well is metal. So really nice, and yeah, this is a really cool casting. The next casting, which is also a IP casting, this is the armored Batmobile. So really excited, because this casting obviously has a lot of size. So this is a new for 2026 casting, and I believe that there is a special feature for this casting. So that's it's already falling out of it. So this particular Batmobile has a plastic piece. So this whole thing is a plastic piece that comes off, So that is super cool. And then we have the Batmobile itself, and just take a look at the vehicle. Not much detail otherwise. It has a metal base, so 2026, and then the top part is plastic, but then you also get a plastic shell that comes with it, so that is super cool. Alright, the armor piece is definitely a really nice touch, so this is a winner. I really like this one. So let's move on to the other castings. So let's first start off with the 69 Copo Corvette. This is not a 2026 casting. Yeah, it's a pretty old casting. Copyright is 2010, but I just saw it recently and I thought that it's a cool casting to have. So this is the Copo Corvette. Front details. The hood has some nice detail, and then 69 for the year, Chevy, Hot Wheels, and we have the Michelin Man as well. So the back, not too much detail, but overall this is a decent casting. So this is the copyright is 2010. So that's for the Copo Corvette. And then I have another older casting. This is the Jeep Scrambler, and this one is obviously the one with the mudded out wheels, and I do like this sort of the mud around the wheels and the base, and I do think that it looks quite nice. It does have that sort of muddy look, but the body itself, does it have the mud? It does. So it has a bit of the mud on the silver body, which is nice. It's a nice touch and definitely makes it look more realistic. No tempos at the back. Quite a lot of tools at the back, though I'm not sure what these tools are. In a sort of maroon brown color. And then the sides as well, Baja blazers, and no tempos on the front, but you do have some tempos on the hood. So yeah, this is a pretty cool casting. I do like the mud that it has. So that's for the Jeep Scrambler. That pocket at the back, and it does have a nice stance. And then we move on to this casting. Now this is an interesting one. As you can see, the top of the cut, this is actually an exclusive, like a store exclusive casting that certain stores will give out when for sort of a promotion. These are typically not too popular. I have seen stores giving this away, but this is the Fast Feline, which is a pretty interesting fantasy casting, and because it's a store exclusive, it typically is in a golden color. So let's open this up. So this one, the base is really gold, which is quite nice. So Fast Feline, copyright is 2022, and then the top is a matte sort of bronze gold color. Nice tempos at the sides, no tempos at the front nor at the back because it's a fantasy casting, but this is a cool fantasy casting that looks pretty fast. Driver sitting all the way at the back, it looks pretty nice. So that's the store exclusive Fast Feline. And then finally we have these three cars that I think are really cool. So let's first do the Matchbox. So this Matchbox actually is sort of like I'm not sure if you can compare it to a Silver Series from Hot Wheels, but I have seen some of these Matchbox that have basically have all around tempos, so quite high quality. I also did see the Nissan Pathfinder, and I think the Hilux pickup. but because I already had the mainline versions of those castings which had the front and back tempos already, so I didn't pick those up. But I did pick this up, and it has all around tempos, so really, really cool. This is the Toyota Land Cruiser 78, and currently in the main line we also have this particular casting, but it does not have the tail light tempos, whereas this one has the tail light tempos, because I guess it's a higher level than the main line. So this one I really like the wheels. It definitely is a special type of wheel, and nice tail hook, tail lights at the back with the Toyota done up, so that's really nice. 4-wheel drive, and then the side tempos are quite nice as well with the headlights. So this one is really nice. So and it was selling for about the same price as the main line, so it's definitely a pretty good deal. So this is the Toyota Land Cruiser with a copyright date of 2024, but overall this is a very nice casting. And finally we have two Hot Wheels 2026 castings. So from the latest case, I have the Mini JCW Electric. This is from the Then and Now series, and even though it's a Hot Wheels, it does have front and back tempos, which is what I really like. So this Mini, let's take a look. The color is fine. I mean, it's a muted green color, but just looking at the details, it does have the Mini logo, headlights, hood tempos, that's quite nice actually, and then the roof is a totally different color, but it is basically the plastic, right? So the whole top part is plastic, including the side view mirrors, and then the back as well. You do get the tempos, but I think for my particular example, there's some rubbing off of the tempos, which is a bit of a shame, but overall this is still a nice casting. Yeah, so this is a Mini Cooper, right? It does say Cooper at the back, but yeah, some QC at the tail lights over here. So overall this is still a pretty cool casting. 2026 copyright date for this Mini. And then finally we have this Aston Martin DB5, and this is a Safari edition. So I think this really looks super cool. I think this carries on the a similar theme as those Porsche rally cars, and this one is really cool, right? It does have those wheels that sort of resemble, that makes it seem as if it has been in the mud. So Aston Martin DB5, again, nice wheels, and they went to the lengths of having the mud on the sides of the car, which is quite nice. Hot Wheels Safari 05, and then Great Britain with the GB at the back and the British flag front. Nice chrome grills, that's the part of the interior, and then the taped up headlights. It's pretty nice for an off-road version of the car. And then we have it. Oops. Okay. So yeah, I was saying that we have the plastic piece at the top as well. That is quite nice with the ready lights. So quite a lot of detail that is being made into this plastic piece. And then the windscreen actually has quite a bit of patterning. I'm not sure what this is supposed to represent, so let me know if you guys know what it's supposed to be. And then at the back we have a spare tire, and then you know the interior is chrome, it's quite nice, and then the back, you know, no temples. But I think this is a really cool casting, and I think this should be popular. You know, at the bottom the copyright date is 2026. I'm not sure, so this is probably the exhaust, right, that's popping out the bottom. So really interesting, the way this casting was made. Yeah, this is a really nice casting. So overall, you know, some really solid castings that have opened up today. Let me know what you guys think, which is your favorite, and you know, I'll see you guys in the next video.